ranking these running backs was actually really tough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my top 10's really going to upset some people.
I mean, obviously, you're going to have your hot takes as always. On the field, he was his top 10, like 10th best quarterback.
I disagree. I think as soon as he hit the playoffs, he looked like a bottom 10 quarterback.
Okay.
That counts.
Okay, you love Justin Herbert.
The 2-minute warning.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning podcast. Today, we're going to be ranking the top 32 running backs in the NFL right now. This is not a projection list, so just what they are right at this moment. We're going to have a projections list closer to the NFL season. Subscribe so you make sure you don't miss out on that, and turn notifications on so you get notified when it comes out. But without further ado, let's hop right into this. We're going to go by fives for the most part. We're going to start with the first 7 in this first group. So 32 through 26, McKay, do you want to get us started?
At 32, I got Ramondre Stevenson. At 31, I have Jordan Mason. 30, I have Kenneth Walker. 29, I have Tank Bigsby. 28 is Brian Robinson. 27 is Jaylen Warren. And 26 is Tyler Algier.
Okay. So for mine, I've got 32, Jordan Mason. 31, I've got Najee Harris. Number 30, I have Aaron Jones. Number 29, I have Cam Skattebo. Number 28, I have Kenneth Walker. Number 27, I've got Tyler Algier. And number 26, I've got RJ Harvey. So we can dive into this right away. Let's just talk about Jordan Mason first. We both have him towards the end of his list. Obviously not exactly a starter over in Minnesota. But, you know, when he got the opportunity to thrive in San Francisco last year, it was actually really good. He was really, really good. I know you picked him up in your fantasy teams, a lot of them, and he did really well for you. So, I don't know. I just think he was really good, but is that the Niners system? I think is the biggest worry with him.
Every single one of my leagues right before week 1, I picked him up.
Yeah.
So that was really good for me. But he was not, I was not starting him by midseason. Even when he was still starting. He just had such a strong start to the season. He was either first or second in rushing yards by week 5. I think he had 700 yards last year, which is really good, especially because he only started 2/3 of the season. But just that second half of the season is really sticking with me about, he averaged 3.5 yards per carry his last few starts. And even, and he just keeps getting hurt. I believe he got hurt 2 years ago, or is he a rookie this year? I feel like he's...
No, I think he's been in the league for multiple years.
Yeah. He was hurt, and then he came this year, was really good, then got hurt, and Guerendo had to play, and Guerendo looked good, too. Every running back that's in that scheme has looked good.
Yeah, for sure.
That's another thing going against him, but I think he's in a really good situation in Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure. I think he signed there for a reason. Obviously, not just for the money, but...
He got traded.
I forgot about that. But I think that... I think it's a good situation for him. I think that there's a good chance he's a starter over Jones by the end of the year, honestly. I don't think Jones is that special. Obviously, I have him at 30. I'm guessing maybe you have him higher than this group.
Well, obviously.
I didn't know if he's just not on the list or something, but Aaron Jones just doesn't show me anything that I love to see, to be honest with you. I think he's in a great situation, like you said, with Jordan Mason, and yet he still doesn't perform to the best ability. He's always hurt. He has fumbling problems. There's a lot of problems with Aaron Jones, and he's not a bad running back by any means. When we were making these lists, we talked a lot about how there's just a ton of good running backs in the NFL right now. There's the elite ones, obviously, and that's in a different tier than some of these other guys. But once you get past around the 20 range, then it's everyone's so close to skill level for so many running backs. So we had to leave a couple guys off this list that we didn't want to, obviously. And I think Aaron Jones falls in that same tier of he's a good back, but I don't see anything special above him. I'd take obviously all the guys I put above him in front of him right now. Honestly, I'd take Tyler Algier as a running back over him right now. I really like Tyler Algier. I have him at 27. Obviously, it's not crazy or anything, but as a backup, I still think he's a little bit better than Aaron Jones right now. So I ended up putting Aaron Jones at 30.
And we'll have that Aaron Jones conversation a little bit more when I have him. I think it's a bit above.
Okay.
It's not I don't love Aaron Jones or anything. I think people are going to be surprised when he's this low for you.
Yeah, probably.
I think I'm around consensus on him. But anyway, our lists are actually pretty similar so far. Ramondre and Najee, very similar players in kind of skill set and also level. I had him at 32 and you had Najee at 31.
Yeah,
so
very
basically
similar.
Same last two. If Ramondre could keep the ball out of harm's way, not fumbling it 7 times or whatever, he'd obviously be a lot higher. He was super efficient, had a bunch of yards at the beginning of the season especially, but he just could never hold on to the ball for some reason, and he got benched twice.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a huge fumbling problem, which is why I didn't put him on the list. I just really don't like Ramondre Stevenson, if he's on my team, be giving me flashbacks to freaking Melvin Gordon, dude. Like, having to sit through Melvin Gordon and seeing, like, just a running back that is efficient. I think Melvin was averaging over 4.5 a carry that season, so, like, it feels like he should be good. But then in every game, he's costing you games by turning this football over, like, almost every single time. And it always comes in the worst moment for some reason. So it's, like, those guys I've learned not, like, it doesn't matter if you're super efficient, if you're just going to turn the ball over at the end of the day, because you can march all the way down the field just to give it to the other team, and that's a waste of your time, and like it's just not helping you. So ultimately, I put Harris because he keeps the ball a little bit better. Obviously, I think Ramondre's a little bit better of a runner than Harris, but I don't think it's like that far off to where I was like I put Harris over because I don't think it's that far, and he's way better at keeping the ball safe than Ramondre. I mean, almost anyone is. So I don't know, but it's like you said, very similar, very close to the end. Yeah. So another surprising one for me was Kenneth Walker. I had him pretty low because I'm not a huge Kenneth Walker guy, but I was surprised to see that you have him even lower than I did.
Yeah, I mean, he's like one of the most disappointing backs in my opinion. He was a second-round pick. I think he was before Breece Hall. It was either right before or right after. They're both the second-round picks that year, first and second running backs off the board. He's just so gifted. He's a power back who ran like a 4.38. This is the kind of player that like you think should be a superstar, but he's not. He's super inefficient, and people mostly point to the interior offensive line of the Seahawks being terrible, but Charbonnet's still able to be efficient, and whenever I watch Charbonnet, he just does so much. Able to get like the 4 and 5 yards every time. While Kenneth Walker, I see him getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage just so many times.
So much. He gets tackled for loss all the time. It's like their offense is so much smoother with Charbonnet in. I really grew to like Charbonnet a lot this year. He's a lot higher on my list than Walker is. I really think he's a much better back than Kenneth Walker. I thought their offense was better. I thought their run game was much, much better. And multiple games that Zach Charbonnet got to start, he had like big games. He had multiple explosive plays, but he also, like you said, always is getting 4 to 5 yards on top of those explosive plays. So it's like, and he's also a really good receiving back.
Yeah, he's a receiving back, which is another thing.
Really,
Kenneth
really
Walker
good receiving back.
Is only like a first and second down back.
And he's not good at it. So it's like, I don't know. I like Charbonnet a lot more. I don't really get the Kenneth Walker hype, to be completely honest, because I just don't really see what everyone's saying. I think he barely averages 4 yards a carry.
He didn't.
He was under.
3.8.
Yeah, so he's like not good at all necessarily. Like I understand the talent, the athleticism. Like you would want a guy like that to just be amazing at it, but he can't put it all together. His vision isn't quite there. He's not as like explosive out of the backfield as he wanted to be. Once he gets in the open field, he's great, but he doesn't get there very often. And so, I don't know. Obviously, like you said, like the Seahawks struggle with their interior and stuff, but like you said, Zach Charbonnet is really able to make it work and thrive even in that offensive line. So I don't know. Either that's really good on Zach Charbonnet or it's just a bad sign on Kenneth Walker. And I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. So obviously, you put Kenneth Walker a little bit down here. We also both have Algier above those guys. I know you're a big Algier guy, being a BYU fan and everything, but I actually really like Algier too. Obviously, he does help him playing with such a good interior in the Atlanta Falcons offensive line, but he's a really good power runner, has been his whole career. I mean, I think it was his rookie year he had 1,000 yards, right? And, really hasn't got the chance to thrive like that. You would love to see him at least in a place where he can get more split carry duties instead of like with Bijan being there, he doesn't really get as many split carries as more of like just kind of the power back duties now, but I feel like he does a lot better of a job if he gets more opportunity, obviously, because I think he's really good. So if he was on a team that got better opportunity, I think he could be much higher than this, to be honest, but it's hard when he doesn't get as many opportunities as you want him to see.
Yeah, I think he'd be way higher, honestly. Like his one season, he started half the year, or like maybe the back back 2/3 of it, but he averaged 4.8 yards per carry that season and had 1,000 yards. And he's been efficient his whole career. I think his second year was a down year, but like last year again, he was super efficient behind Bijan. And then it's just like so annoying to me when everybody's like, Bijan didn't get every single carry this game. Why did Tyler Algier touch the ball 3 times and get 25 yards?
Yeah,
that should have went to Bijan. It's like, yeah, if Tyler Algier has been more efficient than Bijan by like yards per carry wise, it's really close. And I obviously don't think Tyler Algier is better than Bijan, but Algier's a really good back, and I think that he honestly should get more carries. I think they should just run the ball more, especially last season with Kirk Cousins being their quarterback.
It made no sense. I think that their offensive coordinator was not amazing last season when it came to
PFF guy. Came from PFF.
When it came to that, doesn't surprise me at all. But when it came to like the whole, like what's the
Fluidity?
word? Fluidity in the offense. There just wasn't there. It was like we're either running the ball every play for 10 plays in a row or we're throwing it 20 plays in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go to the other one. Like they never went back and forth. There was no confusion in the offense. There was nothing really. I mean, like we saw a game where Kirk Cousins threw the ball like 60 times and got 500 yards. And then the next game we saw Bijan carry the ball 30 times. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. It was really weird. But obviously, Algier is very underrated. Although I do also have 2 rookies that we should probably talk about on my down here. Scadaboo, I have at 29. I don't know if he's on your list. I'm guessing
He was probably going to be like at least top 35. He was one of the last ones I cut out of the list.
I really like Scadaboo. I think he's a great prospect, and I think he's one of those guys that's going to translate to day one. Like we've talked about many times during the draft process, but he's really advanced for a college prospect. His play style and his ability to absorb hits and bounce off tackles. He's really, really amazing at it, and obviously he's definitely a little smaller and dense type of package. I think he's 5'8", for a power back especially, but he really has shown that he's able to do it just as well as anybody else. The only other rookie that we haven't, or the only player that we haven't talked about is R.J. Harvey. I know you really hate R.J. Harvey for some reason. Makes really no sense, but a lot of people have been getting on the R.J. Harvey train ever since we drafted him. He's been in a really good situation to thrive, obviously. Going to be getting a ton of carries, probably as the 3-down back in Denver, as we don't really have many other players to compete with them. Really good run-blocking offensive line. And just a good quarterback to bounce off of and stuff. So he's also got some receiving ability in there. So really good situation for him to thrive if he can, play to the best of his ability. But obviously you hate him, so I'm not surprised he's not on your list.
I mean, you kind of just said, I'm projecting him to be good because you're saying he has help around him to make him better than he is.
No, this is where I think he'll start this season because I think he's really good. I think by the end of the season he'll be much higher than this.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think he's really good and he's in an amazing situation.
At the end of the day, anybody who watched him, I don't know why everybody changed their mind after the draft. Like, obviously you didn't, and they drafted him, so maybe people will think you did, but you didn't. But everybody else is like, R.J. Harvey. Draft R.J. Harvey in fantasy. Mm-hmm. R.J. Harvey is my favorite. R.J. Harvey is a top 3 back in the draft. R.J. Harvey had 2,000 yards last season.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying the whole time.
Yeah, but like everybody just jumped on the second he was drafted 3 rounds above where they graded him based on film.
They didn't watch film of him. Most people were like, who's this guy?
No, like sites, like actual draft sites, people who work for draft networks and stuff, they watched him and then they just changed what they thought about him.
Yeah, because
it doesn't make any sense.
They believe in George Patton and his drafting ability. I don't know.
They believe in Sean Payton and his play calling ability.
I don't know what they did to change their mind, but they're just getting on the right train before it's too late. Just like you should have, but you've denied over and over again, which I really think is a mistake from you. But I mean, I'm just glad people are seeing him for what he is. I mean, he really did have 2,000 yards last season. He's an incredible running back. I thought he's a top 3 back in the class coming out. Huge, bold take, but I think it's really going to pay off, and he's a phenomenal running back. It's going to be great for us this season, especially by the end of the year.
And also, I don't think he's going to be third. I don't think he's going to be, I think he might get 65% of your workload, but I don't think he'll get more.
He's getting more than that. Peyton already confirmed he's playing on 3rd down. He came out today and said, he said, is he going to be a 3-down back? And he said he's going to play on 3rd down.
So he's only going to play on 3rd
down? No, why would he only play on 3rd down? If he's going to play on 3rd down, that means he's going to play on all 3 downs.
I mean, the way he talks about the other running backs, like he was telling whatever
Estime
that he's going to be a big part of their offense or whatever.
I think Estime's just going to be the power back.
Okay.
I could see him getting...
Estime's the power back, and all Jaleel McLaughlin can do is catch the ball.
Apparently, the leaks from camp have been that Jaleel might get cut.
That's a good thing.
Which would be amazing, by the way. I'd be very happy about that. Broncos fans would be kind of upset, but I don't think there's a role for him right now. Mm-hmm. Harvey's going to take that. So
yeah, I mean, I do agree Harvey's the Broncos' best back, but that's not
not saying anything.
Yeah, he's not a top 40 back for me, obviously.
You said you think he's going to be top 32 by the end of the year.
I think that because of his situation,
that's
if
fine.
he's not, then that's actually embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, I think you predicted 4.1 a carry. I could really see him being a lot better than that, and I just think he's really good, man. I'm really excited to watch R.J. Harvey play this season. Is there anybody on your list, though, that we haven't talked about?
Yeah. So we still have Tank Bigsby.
Oh, yeah.
Did he make your list?
He did not make my list.
Interesting. He was very efficient last season.
Yeah, no, he was good. I like him better than ETN. I feel like
he was, trending up a lot, and then people just stopped talking about him, and he was still good. And then now no one cares about him. Mm-hmm. It's like Rashad Tootin, and then some people are people are just forgetting about Travis Etienne. And then no one's mentioned Tank Bigsby.
Well, a lot of people think that they're obviously shopping ETN. I'm sure you've seen that, but I don't know. I think they're all three of those backs. I mean, I think Tootin sucks. I think Tootin's garbage.
Yeah.
But I think ETN and Bigsby are both just kind of mid. I think Bigsby's better than ETN. I think ETN's not very good. But I think that they're still like not too far apart in my opinion. And I think that while Bigsby's a good running back, he's still got a lot of development to do. And next season I could see him being up here. But right now I didn't really want to put him above any of these other guys just because I think they're more proven. And they are kind of where they are. I think that he's got a lot more development to his game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean he took like one of the biggest steps forward I've ever seen from a player. He was like the worst running back in football 2 years ago. He had like I think it was 2.6 yards per carry,
like
4 fumbles
yeah.
on like 50 touches. It's like, okay, buddy, you suck.
He was so bad.
And we also have Brian Robinson, who we haven't talked about. I don't know if he's on yours.
Yeah, I didn't put him on. He was just off the list.
He's super mid.
He's so mid.
Yeah, he's the definition of mid in my opinion. And then also Jaylen Warren, who I know we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, I'm saving that conversation because he's a little bit higher on my list for sure. So we'll talk about him in a little bit. But if that's the last one, let's move on to 25 through 21. Do you want to kick us off?
At 25, I have Zach Charbonnet. 24, I have Alvin Kamara. 23, Caleb Johnson. 22, Tyrone Tracy. And number 21, I got Joe Mixon.
Holy crap, Kamara's low. Very low. Like, really low. Okay, anyway, let's go through my mind. 25 is Joe Mixon. 24 is Rico Dowdle.
Interesting.
23 is Tony Pollard. 22 is, sorry, I lost it. 22 is Chase Brown. 21 is Tyrone Tracy.
Interesting. We only had one player from the same.
This is gonna be heated. Okay, let's start with Joe Mixon though, because I'm all the way down at 25. You're known as a little bit of a Joe Mixon hater out there.
I'm not known as that. You just tried to make it look like that.
No, you literally said you are Joe Mixon
one,
hater.
but...
Like what?
No, but you're clearly a bigger Joe Mixon hater.
Apparently, I mean, things are being shown today. You're apparently a bigger Kenneth Walker hater than I am. I'm apparently a bigger Joe Mixon hater. He's just not that good at all. I don't even think their run blocking was that bad if you actually watch the Texans. Like, obviously, their line is absolutely garbage, but more in the pass blocking game than anything. Like, obviously, they need to improve in the run blocking game, but it's not like it's terrible. So, I don't know. I don't think he really has that many excuses. When people play the Texans after Stroud's rookie year, they were really focused on the pass more than the run. So it's not like he was facing stacked boxes. And he's in a really easy division. So I feel like he's just got everything in favor of him. And yet he's still not able to perform at a super high level. Obviously, he started the year, and people really liked him because he had like a touchdown once every first 7 games. That's not that cool to me. Like, you scored from the 1 yard line a few times. That's cool. Sure. Whatever, and like he wasn't able to like sustain that. Obviously, he was nowhere near the top of the league when it came to touchdowns. People like James Cook, who led the league. So I don't know. I don't think he's like anything special. I've never liked Joe Mixon. When he was on the Bengals and stuff, I was like a huge Joe Mixon hater. For some reason, I like started hating him less once he went to the Texans. But I like hated him on the Bengals. So I've never been a fan of Joe Mixon. I just don't see why everyone hypes him up so much.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Obviously, he's number 21 for me. He's just like, he's super mid, and then randomly he'll have like a really good game. Like, I think, one of the playoff games, I feel like he was really good. But like, you see the other players in that same system, every time Dameon Pierce gets on the field, I swear he's like amazing.
And they just don't play him.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, he's been struggling in camp. And like, he's RB3 on the depth chart. And it's like, okay, well, Joe Mixon he literally averaged 4.1 yards per carry this year.
It's not good at all.
That's like Najee Harris amount of volume with Najee Harris level efficiency. And people talk like to Najee Harris like he's like absolute garbage, which he is. But Joe Mixon, people are like, he's my favorite. He's a top 5 running back. He's a top 8 running back.
Yeah, people definitely put him in the top 10 all the time.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It definitely doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I also have Rico Dowdle. I'm guessing he didn't make your list.
No, he didn't.
But, I think Rico Dowdle's really underrated. Playing on the Cowboys last season after, Zeke sucked. But he was really good for them that second half of the year. He didn't even start the whole year, had easily over 100 or 1,000 yards.
Barely.
Easily. It was like 1,050. That's easily.
That's not easily.
But he he got over 1,000 yards, not even starting all the games, like I said. Let's move on to Pollard. Or do you want to save that conversation for when you bring him up?
I mean,
I'm kind of surprised you haven't even
my
said
next
Pollard.
tier.
Okay. Well, I have him at 23, one spot above Dowdle.
Okay.
So I think Pollard's good. Like you said, he was really good 1 year, his first year actually starting when they got rid of
1
Zeke.
year. He was good his whole career until that final season with Cowboys.
Well, he was a really good backup. Everyone was like, this guy's really good, one of the most underrated backs in the league. Really got the opportunity to start. Everyone was like, oh, look, he was good, 5.2 a carry. Really, really good. And then the next year, obviously the run blocking got way worse, as we've discussed. 4 yards a carry. Not necessarily his fault. Goes to the Titans. Plays a lot better than that. Obviously nothing crazy. I have him at 23. I don't know. I don't want to put him above everybody else. I think there's so much talent once we get past this point. Running backs at 20, I think are really talented. So, like the 20 and on, especially. So I don't know. I couldn't put him above guys like Chase Brown or Tyrone Tracy. I think they're not as good as him, or he's not as good as them.
Well, I just don't think. Maybe you just like the running backs that are left more. I don't know. He's just fine, and he can get it done as a starter, as a running back. I kind of wanted Tajay Spears to take the workload from him, but that just never happened. And Henry averaged less yards per carry than Pollard did, like when they switched from Henry to Pollard.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool.
The Titans and their offensive line is garbage. Like,
yeah, it's definitely not
help.
good. It's definitely not good.
He was playing with Will Levis, and he ended up looking like a solid back. I think he's pretty underrated. Where did you? Oh, you haven't said Kamara yet.
No,
and I'm assuming you don't have Caleb Johnson on your list.
No, I can't believe he's this high. That's actually insanity to me.
I just think he's a guy who I had him as my RB3, but a huge part of that is his floor. He's going to be such a good back in the NFL, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think they have a way better back on their team already.
I think day one he's starting.
Yeah, I think he'd get the power back role. But
the power back role is the Najee role, which is 300 touch every season.
Yeah, and if that's what Arthur Smith wants to do, that doesn't surprise me because Arthur Smith's a dumbass. But I think that they have a way better back on their roster and they keep neglecting it, which we'll talk about him when we get there.
Wait, you're not? Oh, you haven't said him yet.
Nope, I have not. But also Chase Brown, I'm guessing you have him a lot higher. You're like obsessed with Chase Brown for some reason.
I'm not.
But I have him down here because I don't see anything special with him. Obviously, he doesn't get a huge workload with such a pass-heavy offense. And he's fine when he gets that opportunity. But, like, he's never having to go up against stacked boxes or anything like that. Like, never getting a hard look in his life. Because it's not like his line's special or anything, but, like, they are always guarding the pass. You have Joe Burrow, you have T. Higgins, you have Jamar Chase, even like guys like Mike Gesicki as like the third option is really good to have as a third option on offense. You've got Yoshi Voss as your fourth option you've got to cover. And you really do have to cover Chase Brown out of the backfield.
Chase Brown's the third option on receiving.
Okay, but I think Chase Brown is like just as good at receiving as he is running. He's not very good at running at all.
This is not a running list. This is a running back list.
Right, and I can't just give you like a ton of points for just being good at receiving.
Have you said Tyrone Tracy yet?
Yeah, he's one spot above him. But I think Tyrone Tracy's a better runner than he is. So, and you think Tyrone Tracy's like the greatest receiving back of all time. So,
no, I just think, I don't know. I just think he's like, Tyrone Tracy's such a good route runner, and he's got great hands.
Yeah.
But like, I think you're overrating him as a pure runner. But
no, I think he's got development to do, and that's what makes me excited about him is he still can develop quite a bit. I think he can develop more in the receiving game too, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But I think that right now he is a pretty complete player. He showcased a lot of that in his rookie season, and I think maybe I accidentally let a little bit of projection sway me on this one. Looking at it, I probably should have him a couple spots lower, but I really like Tyrone Tracy, and I think him and Scattergood is going to be really fun duo to watch.
Okay, well, so is there anybody we haven't talked about Kamara?
Yeah, I think we should save that.
Yeah, I don't really know how it's. I don't know. I'm surprised that you're surprised.
No, I mean, okay. We'll talk about him in a second. Is there anybody else on your list?
No, that's everything.
Okay, so let's go 19 through or 20 through 15 or 16. Sorry. So.
Okay, so at number 20, I got David Montgomery. 19, James Conner. 18, Tony Pollard. 17, I have Aaron Jones.
16?
And 16, I have Travion Henderson.
Oh my gosh, so you haven't even said Chase Brown yet. What the heck? You are obsessed with him, bro.
No, I'm not.
I think our lists are just completely different. I thought we were going to be a lot more similar than we are. Mm-hmm. But 20, I have Breece Hall. 19, I have Tyler Warren. Or not Tyler Warren, Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren. Wait, what?
Jalen Warren. 18, I have Zach Charbonnet. 17, I have James Conner. And 16, I have David Montgomery.
Somewhat similar.
So let's start with Brees. You looked very shocked when I said Brees.
Okay, I have him lower. I guess I have him around where I thought you'd have him.
Okay.
And like at this point, or like before it was like, oh, I have this guy at 23, you have him at 28. It's like, yeah, I get that, but like at this point, it's like this big of a difference of like a
5
tier.
spots,
It's a big difference.
Here's the thing for me is Brees. I really when we do our projection list, I think Brees is going to be borderline top 10 on my projections, if not in it, because I think Brees is going to have a huge bounce back year. But the blatancy of it last year, Brees was not good. Like, he was bad a lot of the games. You know, there was multiple games he's averaging under 3 yards a carry. And that's not a great back to me at all. That's not even, like, a good back. You know, that's really bad. And obviously, he was not in the best situation. There was a lot to figure out over there in New York. But even towards the end of the season, when Rodgers started playing really well towards the end of the season, which people just don't like to talk about, but it really took a lot of pressure off of him, and he still wasn't able to perform anywhere near that level that we saw the year before. Like, the year prior, Brees, in my opinion, was a top 5 back in the league. He was phenomenal the year before. However, he just took a ginormous step back. And as much as I wanted to not believe it, because I'm a huge Brees fan. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but I loved Brees Hall. And I really was like, it's not his fault. But like, there's so many talented running backs that right now, not talking about what he's going to be next year, what he was this past season was just not good. Like, it just wasn't good. And so honestly, I think I'm putting him at 20 just off of what he did the year before, because he was so bad last season that I don't think I would even put him 20 if we were only doing it off of last season.
Yeah, so you haven't said Kamara yet, and you just said Brees Hall, and I'm very confused.
Yeah, I don't know why you hate Kamara so much.
I don't. He's
It
fine.
sounds like you do.
Anyway.
You've at 24.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Most people, I think people have him, like, top 10. Some people do.
What?
Yeah, people
In
love
2025.
People love Kamara, dude.
Dude, it's not 2012 anymore whenever he played.
Okay, he got drafted
He
in
was
like
good in like
2017.
2020. 2020 was like his peak.
Yeah, I still
He's
think he's a
done.
great running back.
Anyway, Brees Hall, like, I know you said in projections it'd be like this, but for me it's like I saw his elite play already. So I think he can go back to it, and I'm ranking him right now, and I think he is back to it. He was not healthy last season. He just barely came off of his, what was it, an Achilles injury?
Yeah, he was off a
Or
huge
ACL
But
injury?
I think he's going to bounce back next season. I can't just assume, like, that's projecting, though.
Okay, well, you haven't said CMC yet either.
Okay? But that's because, based on what I saw from last season before he
What
got
I
hurt.
saw from last season, he gets hurt and
We'll-
comes
we'll-
back
we'll-
and gets
we'll-
hurt.
We'll talk about him in a second, but my point is that by saying I think he's going to be better this season because he was coming off an injury is fine, and I completely agree with you. Like, I really do. I'm going to have Brees so much higher in our projections. The reason he's here is because I'm not projecting. The whole point of this list was to say
Yeah, well-
what he was last season.
Well, I'm not doing that. I'm saying what he is right now.
Well, that's what we know he is right now. Assuming he's something else
Okay,
is
well, right now
projecting.
CMC can't walk, and you haven't said him yet.
That's not true. He's been running. He's back to running in practice.
Yeah, well, he's going to tear
Like,
his
he's
ACL the
fully,
second he
he's
starts
fully
running.
healthy already.
Yeah, but that's just what they
he
say.
can't walk. He's fully healthy.
Yeah, but he's just going to
What
get
do you
injured
mean?
again.
Okay, that's another projection. We're not projecting.
Yeah, but anyway, I just think that it's crazy that you hate on Brees this much after being a Brees Hall lover.
I'm not hating on him. I'm saying
You are.
you
You
agree
have him at
he
20.
was bad
You have him at
last year.
20.
You agree he was bad last year
There are
because
some
of
way-
injuries. He was bad last year.
He was not good last year.
Yeah. So,
But, like,
this is fair.
I think part of it is Braylon Allen was below average for 3 weeks, and then people thought he was good. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know what
that's
that
true.
was. And then people are like, Braylon Allen thrived when he was really not good. And there's a reason why Braylon Allen's now their third running back.
Mm-hmm.
Because Isaiah Davis has apparently already beaten him out.
But I don't know. My point is, if I was doing it how you did it, he'd be higher, probably where you have him. Because if I was doing it like, oh, well, I'm assuming he's fully healthy and back to where he was.
Yeah, like,
2
I'm not
seasons.
assuming steps. I'm assuming because of his resume and the fact that he's young, I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
but he
predict-
didn't show any of that last year. Is my thing, and we're doing this based off of
He did
last
show it.
season, mainly.
He had games where he looked like the Brees Hall.
No, he had like plays every like
games.
7 games. He did not have a
He had
good. He
multiple
didn't
games.
have like a great game this season.
He definitely did.
Like through the air, he had a couple good games, but he didn't have any good rushing games last season.
He's like 900 yards.
I had him
He
on my
that.
fantasy team. I promise you, he did not have good rushing games.
I mean, I didn't draft him because I'm smart. But anyway, who we not talked about? Oh, David Montgomery. Did you say him?
Yeah, he's my 16. You have him a little bit lower than I thought you would.
Yeah. He's like whatever. And like sometimes it's like when he gets a volume, I'm like, dang, this guy's really good. But like, there's a certain point where you just have to stop how good you think he is. Like he's like James Conner, where like I don't know
Yeah,
why
they're very
but people really, really overrate James Conner, and a lot of people underrate him as well. But they're both just boring backs who just get it done. which is at 20. Like, obviously, you're not a bad running back. But we saw what happened when he got hurt and their team got better. And their offense looked better when Jahmyr Gibbs was playing more.
Yeah, I
Because
completely agree.
he's just kind of in the way.
Yeah, I have them one spot apart from each other. I do have them a little bit higher because, like, I don't know who you have above. I guess you really like guys like Chase Brown, which is crazy to me. But these guys are efficient guys that get it done. They're good through the air. They're nothing crazy, like you said, but, like, I really think that they can get it done. So that's why I have them here. Zach Charbonnet, we also haven't talked about. I have him at 18. The reason I have him this high, I already talked about. Like, I really think he thrives even when, Kenneth Walker's not able to get that same thing done. We know the Seahawks interior isn't very good, but he's really still able to go out there and showcase his talents when he gets the opportunity to start. I really wish he had more opportunities to start and the Seahawks would start him over Kenneth Walker because I think he's just so much better, and I think he could be even higher than this. I think he's so talented and one of the most underrated players in the league.
I just think he's, like, fine. And he's nothing, like, crazy special. Maybe that Seahawks run blocking and scheme is really that bad that this is what a good back looks like. But for me, like, obviously I have him way higher than most people would. He's above Kenneth Walker. But it's like, I just can't. Who'd you have him above? Like, you had him above. There's someone.
Chase Brown.
Did you have him above Brees?
He was better than Brees last season. I think we're just looking
That
at
does not
Brees.
sit right with me.
We're just looking at Brees differently. Like, again, I'm looking at it
I'm
completely
not
off of
looking
last
up.
season.
I'm not looking at him like he's a 1,500-yard back like he was.
But you're looking at him like he's completely back. Like he's gonna go back, and I'm not projecting that.
He's gonna go
like-
back to, like, being good.
When we
great.
do our projection list, people are gonna be like, dude, he's a huge Brees Hall lover. Like, that's a difference that's gonna be on my list. But last season he was at best the 20th back. He was bad last season. Like, he was so not good. And so I'm doing this off of last season.
So we haven't talked. Is James Conner in this tier for you?
Yeah, we talked about him though. He's
Okay.
average, just same as David Montgomery.
Okay, and we haven't talked about Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah, you have him way higher than I did.
Why did you have him so low?
I just think there's a lot of negative traits with him. He's always hurt, and you hate that. So I don't know why you have him this high.
He just had his best rushing season of his career.
Yeah, but like, if you actually watched it, he wasn't as good as he was on the Packers.
Yeah, I mean,
A
because
lot of it's scheming, the opportunities.
at his best, he's a receiving back, and they didn't use him as much as a receiving back for whatever reason as the Packers did. Where the Packers were the reason why he never had, I don't know how many yards he had this year, like 1,100 yards rushing, was because we had A.J. Dillon, who was good at some point. We had him and Jamal Williams, them taking a lot of the rushes, while Aaron Jones was just like this guy who came in, changed the pace, and then just was like the best receiving back in the NFL. Which he's not that anymore, but he averaged like 4.6 yards per carry. He was just good when they needed him to be good, and then, like, obviously he has this problem that I've hated for him for a while, is just fumbling, which I think he didn't fumble as much as normal, which I know Vikings fans were upset that he fumbled a lot, but, like,
It wasn't as bad.
yeah, but
That's
I
a
don't know.
big reason I lowered him is because of fumbles.
Yeah. At this point, he's just an efficient back, and I kind of, maybe this is a bit high, but I think you definitely had him too low.
I think maybe in the middle is where most people would have him.
And then Henderson.
Yeah,
you
he's
said him
he's
yet.
in the next group. So
Interesting.
I
I guess
think
we'll
you-
talk about him in the next group.
okay, so you want to move on to the next group?
Sure.
15 through 11.
Okay, at 15, I got Chase Brown. At 14, I got Brees Hall. 13, I got Chuba Hubbard. 12, I got Devon Achane. And 11, I got James Cook.
I think this is where we're going to start getting very similar when it comes to the list, obviously.
Chase
So,
Brown.
besides, like, once we get past that point.
Okay.
So at 15, I have Alvin Kamara. 14, I've got Travion Henderson. And this is where we're very similar. 13, I've got Achane. 12, I have Bucky Irving. And then 11, I have Chuba Hubbard. So let's start with Kamara, since we've already talked about him a couple times, like, kind of. I think he's a really good receiving back still, obviously. Phenomenal receiving back. He's always been, more of a receiving back than a rushing guy. He's always had kind of a second, or a lot of the time he's had a second guy. I remember when he was rushing with Mark Ingram a lot in the Sean Payton days. And so he's never been asked to be like a 3-down back, like a workhorse necessarily, until like later in his career when he wasn't as good. So it like didn't work necessarily. But last season, I felt like he was pretty good before he got hurt. Was easily going to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark for the first time in his career. which is kind of sad to think about. But they easily would have done it. Was still really good through the receiving game. I just think that he's a really good running back still, someone that's going to lead your team. It's going to be efficient on the ground, be really efficient through the air. I don't really see the hate putting him at 24. I just don't get that at all. When he's just a really good back, that he doesn't necessarily have a bunch of like any downsides necessarily. Besides, he's not the workhorse back.
I mean, I watch the Saints and I look at him and he looks garbage. Like, I don't know what people see. Here's what I see. It's either a run where it's like, oh, you got 3 yards, or oh, you got 1 yard, oh, you got 8 yards. I don't think I've seen an explosive run from him in a while, honestly.
Okay.
Like at least a year. And then in the receiving game, I don't see what I used to see in his route running ability at all. Maybe it's just a scheme and the fact that he played with Derek Carr, but all of his catches seem to be Derek Carr's in trouble. That's just every play for him, and it's like anybody can do that.
You also have to look at the fact that their coaching staff was horrific last season. I mean, to be fair, I did like Clint Kubiak, but I don't know. I don't think the scheme was the best, like you said. Like a lot of it could be scheme, but I also think that he's not as good as he used to be, obviously. But not being as good as he used to be doesn't mean he's 24th. It means he's 15th, Because I think that Kamara, when he in his prime, he was borderline top 5 in the league. He was really freaking good. And he's nowhere near his prime anymore, but he's still a really good running back in this league.
Do you want to hear his last 4 seasons rushing average?
Sure.
3.7, 4, 3.9, 4.2.
Which 4.2 is this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, he was a good running back this year.
4.2 is Najee numbers.
No, 4.1 is not.
Zach Charbonnet numbers.
I like Zach Charbonnet a lot.
I know, but
it's not all about that. You have to look at so much more than that.
His receiving, he had 100 targets this year.
Holy crap! Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't put him higher because you value
8
receiving
yards
back a
per
lot.
target. That's actually not bad, but still, like that's just what it felt like. He doesn't run routes anymore. He's kind of just like the safety blanket for Derek Carr, who's the biggest check down merchant I've ever watched.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Derek Carr, obviously, anymore.
He's Tyler Shuck. And Tyler Shuck's not going to... I'm assuming Tyler Shuck's going to want to push the ball downfield like he did in college.
I don't know. I think that you're just underrating him a little bit. Even if you want to move him down a little bit, I'm fine with that. But, 24 is just a little way too high.
I actually think that it's not. I think that's totally fair. 24...
Yeah, I think most people are going to be really upset about that, to be honest. I think he's consensus way higher. But
he hasn't been a good rusher for 5 years.
I mean, he's never been a rush first kind of guy.
But I want my running back to be able to rush.
That's not what you act like. You have Chase Brown above him by 10 spots.
Chase Brown is one of the most efficient runners in the NFL.
Whenever I watch Chase Brown, it's what you're saying with Kamara. I just don't see anything from him. Yeah, every once in a while he'll have an explosive play. He's not consistent. He has explosive plays that prop up his average because he doesn't touch the ball that often.
I think his average should be higher. You know why it's not? Because they don't have a power back. He's doing the power back carries, and that kills him. Because he's the worst power back.
I think his average is higher than it should because he doesn't touch the ball as much as he should. Because they don't run the ball as much as they should. But he does have explosive plays, which is his best thing by far, is that he's explosive and can receive. But he, in my opinion, is a receiving first back. Because when he gets tackled behind the line a lot, if he's not breaking away, I don't ever see him get those 4 to 5 chunk plays that you need every once in a while. Either he's exploding or he's getting tackled behind the line.
Well, he's like a young Kamara. He's 10 times better at everything at this point.
10 times?
Kamara is not good anymore.
That's insane. That's actually insane.
It's not.
That's insane. You
Chase Brown
the crap
is
out of Chase
probably
Brown.
the second best receiving back in the NFL.
Oh my god.
I think he's...
You glazed the crap out of Chase Brown.
He is such a good route runner. His ability to get open when Joe Burrow is trying to make plays in the scramble drill, he just finds Chase Brown so much in the receiving game that I just don't know why you don't like him.
I do.
Where'd you put him?
I'll put him at 22.
That's a hater number.
That is not a hater number.
That is a hater number.
That is not a hater number. For the amount of volume that he
put
gets.
Kamara above him. He's better at Kamara. There is not a trait besides being a power back, which is one of Kamara's worst traits, that Kamara's better at.
I disagree. I think Kamara's a very good player still. And I think Chase Brown's fine.
What is Kamara better at?
He's a better runner.
He's a way
more consistent runner, in my opinion, with a way worse scheme. And you have to realize that Chase Brown gets the benefit, like I said earlier, of just never running against more than 5 defenders in the box. Ever. Kamara is playing... he's literally going... This season he was running with Spencer Rattler throwing the ball. You think people aren't stacking the box against Spencer Rattler? When we played the Saints, we played 8 men in the box the entire game. Kamara is still averaging a 4.2 against that, which If he's with the Bengals, he's averaging way higher than that. Because one, again, way easier run time. Two, he's getting better receiving yards because guess what? He's going out and he's becoming the 5th option because they have 4 good receiving threats, 2 of the best in the game. And so it's like Joe Burrow's looking for them, and he's just, he's a safety blanket like a running back should be, but acting like Kamara in a 10 times worse situation. One of the best to one of the worst is just completely unfair to say, well, look at their
Brown
stats.
Is even if he plays like a top 3 back, he'll never be considered one because of he's on the Bengals and he's never going to get the volume.
Okay, I don't care.
So that's not a great situation
it is an
for running
incredible
back to show how good he really is.
No, it's not a good situation for him to be on a list on a podcast, but it's a great situation for him to play his best. Because if he went on a different team, he would not even be the number 1 back on most teams.
I mean, he definitely would.
On most teams.
He'd be the RB1 on the Vikings, Titans, Texans, Cardinals, Giants, Steelers.
Definitely not the Cardinals.
Definitely over James Conner.
Yeah, Connor would be playing over him, 100%. Like you're just so overrating Chase Brown. If you actually watch Chase Brown,
I do.
He's not that good.
Why do you think I like Chase Brown?
I don't know. It's because of the stats.
It's not. I don't even know what his stats.
He has a high average and he has good receiving stats. That's why you like him.
Because I watch him, and
No,
every time I
there's
watch
no
the
way.
Bengals, he touches the ball, he does amazing, and then they don't give him to him for 10 plays.
The reason he
And I'm
touches the ball and he's amazing is because they don't give it to him for 10 plays. So when he touches it, everyone's like, whoa, he has the ball. And he has so much open space. I never see him get past the line if someone's there. Like, he never breaks tackles. He's never, doing anything except
That's
running
not
in a
his
straight
game.
line.
His game is
running in a straight
he
line.
Can juke. He's
Barely.
not breaking.
I don't ever see
I don't
any-
think you've ever watched.
Bro,
I honestly don't think you've
The
ever
one
watched
good
Chase
play I can remember of Chase Brown was against the Steelers when he had a 50-yard touchdown. Actually, it wasn't a touchdown. He got down to 1. And then they handed it to him so he could get a touchdown. It was against the Steelers. I think it might have been that shootout game that Russ had 400-something yards, if you remember that game. But I don't think he got touched until he got tackled at the 1. That's not good play necessarily. And he didn't cut or anything. He just ran a straight line. That's not elite running back play to me. That's just you got a hole.
Did you watch Kamara this year and think he was any good?
Yes, Kamara is their best player on their offense by
What
far.
game did you watch of the Saints that made you think Kamara was good?
The Panthers game, week 1.
No, week 1. We can't talk about week 1 for the Saints.
Okay, but everybody
Or week
looks
2.
good on week 1.
Yeah, I know.
Saints. I didn't watch a ton of Saints football this season,
Yeah.
but also what I saw was against the Broncos this season that it was Kamara has to do everything in this team, and if we all huddle around Kamara, we just beat them because they
I
can't.
remember
do
them
anything else.
throwing every play. I literally don't remember them running.
Right, and Kamara catches the ball a lot. So, I don't know. My point is that you're overrating. Even if you want to say Kamara's that bad, that's already a bad take. But you're just overrating Chase Brown by quite a bit.
I just don't think so. Did you have Henderson in this tier?
Yeah, I have him 14.
Okay.
I think Henderson's so good. I think he's a much better runner than both the guys we've been talking about. And I think he has the potential. Obviously, we're not projecting, but with rookies, you have to project type thing of what they're going to be. I think he has the potential to easily eclipse them in the receiving game. He's so good at both things. This is a guy that I really think has top 5 potential in the league one day. And I mean, he's just going to be so good from day one. He's in a good situation too. Getting to play Drake May. They just got a whole new look to their whole team. So I'm excited to see what TreVeyon Henderson can do for the team.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, we both have him RB2. I just I don't know if he's gonna get enough workload year 1. I feel
that's fair.
I feel like Ramondre is gonna take a bunch of it for some reason.
Which is totally fair.
Even if maybe he'll get benched, which would be good. But I don't know. Maybe Gibson gets the workload then. He's a rookie, but it's kind of weird to rank rookies, honestly. Besides Ashton Genty, in my opinion, I don't know why he's different. But have we talked about? Oh, we haven't talked about Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Statistically, one of the best running backs. He's nothing flashy, but that's fine. He's super consistent. He gets 18-yard runs instead of
40.
40, yeah. So he's not super explosive, but he's good at getting the big chunk plays and still being super consistent.
Yeah, for sure.
On a terrible offense.
Terrible offense. He is their offense. He is the whole offense. I have him, I think, 2 spots ahead of you, but very similar. I think Chuba's honestly really underrated right now. Not a lot of people ever talk about him. It's probably because he's on the Panthers.
He's also boring.
And he's very boring. But he's a very good running back. I think he's going to be borderline top 10 for all of his prime, if not in it for a lot of that.
It's so weird to think about Chuba in his prime. I don't know why. I don't know. It just seems weird.
And then did you have A-Chain in this
Yeah.
spot?
A-Chain's one spot above. Chuba.
Yeah, I have him one spot or two spots behind. I think he's obviously mainly a receiving back but I think that's a lot because of Tua. Like I think he could be a lot better. But Tua I've never seen a quarterback throw to the running back as much as Tua. I know you're saying like
Besides Derek Carr.
I know you're saying Derek Carr, but like holy crap. Achane was averaging almost 7 catches a game. That is so many catches for a running. That's good. That's a lot of catches a game for a wide receiver. Like that's a good receiver. Like, he's just a running back, so that's insane. He's a good runner though. Like don't get me wrong. I think he has a lot of development though left to do. And I think we'll see him take a step this year, especially in the run game. But I still have him 13. Obviously, I just think this top 10 is really stacked in my opinion.
And then. Did you have James Cook in this one?
I have him. I'll just tell you right now, he's my next spot. He's 10.
Okay.
I had Bucky here instead.
At 11?
I had Bucky at 12. Chuba at 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just like James Cook he's a really good running back, but I don't ever feel like he's a complete game changer like the guys are in my top 10. He did score a lot of touchdowns.
A lot.
But I never felt like he was that good at scoring. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I watched them and it was like carries at the 3-yard line.
I don't think touchdowns for running backs are that big of a deal. I think they're just like kind of a useless stat. Like with other stats, they obviously other positions. I think they mean way more, like wide receiver and quarterback especially. But I think that I don't know. Like obviously he got in the end zone a lot. That's a good thing. But I really think James Cook is this running back that doesn't like they don't give him the ball when they should, if that makes sense. There was a game I don't remember if it was the Ravens or the Chiefs, but there was a game in the playoffs that was like he was just dominating. On like 4 carries in the first half. He had like 70 yards or something. And they just weren't handing him the ball. It's like handing the ball. I think if he got more of a workload, he would be higher. I think he could thrive a lot. You say he doesn't really take over a game. I think that's because they don't allow him to. They like run him as much as Allen, it feels like half the time. If not less than Allen half the time. And obviously they have a really good receiving back with Ray Davis and stuff. So it's like, what?
Ray Davis is not a receiving back.
Oh, which one's the receiving back? Is it
James
the other guy?
Cook.
No, the other guy.
Ty Johnson.
Yeah, Ty Johnson. That's what I meant. Ty Johnson's obviously their receiving back. Pro said James Cook.
James Cook's a really good receiving back, to be fair.
But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't get the opportunities to thrive because even that's what I was literally trying to go to is like even they have a receiving back who takes his receiving snaps, and then they have other runners that they take. They give Ray Davis a bunch of carries. They give Josh Allen a bunch of carries. So it's really hard for him to thrive. But I think that he deserves a top 10 spot based on skill level.
Yeah, makes sense. Also back to Achane. Like players like him, the reason why he's not higher for me is like obviously he's a great receiving back. He can make the big chunk plays. But for players like him who are like super explosive, don't get a bunch of volume, you expect them to have a really high like efficiency. He has like 4.2 yards per carry. It's like people like you want those above 5 almost for those guys like Chase Brown, Tony Pollard in his prime. I think Kamara was around there like 6 years ago. The guys like that, you want their average to be a lot higher, and Achane's is really low for that kind of role.
No, for sure.
Okay, so is that everybody?
Yeah, unless you want to touch on Bucky.
Bucky's next for me, so we can do it now.
Okay, yeah, let's say your next 5. 10 through 6.
10 is Bucky Irving. 9 is Ashton Jeanty. 8 is Christian McCaffrey. 7 is Jonathan Taylor. And 6 is Bijan Robinson.
Holy crap, we have the same. Except Cook and Bijan. So obviously Cook's 10, and then I have Jeanty 9, CMC 8, Jonathan Taylor 7, and Bijan 6.
That's crazy.
So that's really cool.
I thought you were shocked. You were like, oh my gosh.
No, I was shocked because we actually...
we might have the top 9 through.
Yeah, I honestly think we do. I think...
No way.
There's just no way. I think that's what I was expecting, which is why I thought that our running back rankings were going to be so much more similar than they are. Because I didn't really think about, how similar is 20 through 32 going to be? Like, I thought about, the top 10, and our top 10 is so similar. Let's let you touch on Bucky first, though.
Yeah, Bucky, he averaged like 5.6 yards per carry. I think 1,400 total yards, something ridiculous
for a rookie.
And he had 45% of their team snaps.
Yeah.
So let's say he plays 65, and I assume he won't get the same efficiency. But if he played 20% more snaps, he'd have like 1,800, 1,900 yards.
Yeah.
So he's super efficient. I did not like him coming out of college. He's not the kind of player I like, which is kind of annoying. I don't know. He was not good in college, in my opinion. I was so good on the Bucks, and obviously, I don't know if people are going to expect Rachaad White on this list after this season. I never liked him. He sucks.
He's not on mine, just so you know.
Yeah, but hopefully Bucky gets more third down work. I know Rachaad White's a fine receiving back. But,
he's really
you can't
overrated.
take Bucky Irving special. You can't take him off the field for Rachaad White.
but they do so much. Even on first and second down, I'm like, what is Rachaad White doing in the game? I honestly hate watching the Bucs when they do that because it pisses me off. I love Bucky Irving. Like, I love watching him. He's so fun to watch because he's just an amazing player. And he was a rookie last season. Like, honestly, 10 is such a fair spot, but I think that, like, I'm going to project him to take a pretty big step this season because I'm really hoping to give him a bigger workload, and I just see him, like, he's going to be so good, especially in a couple years. He's going to be, like, phenomenal. Like, one of the best backs in the league, so he's really freaking good. But, like, this top 10 is really freaking stacked, man. We have a lot of really good talent in here. Obviously, we've already gone over it. I mean, we got guys like at 9, we got Ashton Jeanty, which is really high to put a rookie, by the way, who hasn't played a snap, but I'm really glad you put him there, too. He's so good. I'm so excited to watch him, but I'm also really mad that he went to the Raiders because now it's like hard to cheer for him because he's on the Raiders. But he's one of these guys that I think he's gonna have 1,200 yards this year as a rookie at least. Like I could see him going for more. Yeah, I think he's gonna have 1,200 rushing yards this season. Lot. It's a lot of rushing yards, but you have to realize he's in a Pete Carroll offense, so they're gonna run the ball plenty, and he's so good. Like he's so good, and I cannot wait to watch him this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, best running back prospect since at least Bijan. If not Bijan, it's Saquon Barkley.
I think it's Barkley easily.
Okay, well, you weren't scouting then. You don't know. People were obsessed with Bijan. Bijan had a crazy. It was like 0.48 missed tackles for per attempt, which was like the best of all time. So, but Jeanty had a lot of carries. That's like the only thing that I can say negative. It's like, how long will his prime be? But, like, right now is probably going to be the start of his prime because he's such a good prospect. And that offense could be sneaky good, in my opinion. It could be a top 10, but, like, back into the top 10.
Whoa.
If Geno was as good as everybody – I don't like Geno, but if he's good as everybody, like, thinks he is, then I don't know why other people aren't saying this because if you like Geno, this offense should be maybe – I don't want to say top 5. Top 8.
It's not top 5. I understand top 10 if Geno is good, but I think Geno's really going to hold them back. He turns the ball over way too much in the red zone, like we've talked about a few times, which is really going to hurt them. I think there's going to be games, though, that they win this season just off of running the ball. Like, they're just running the ball every single play. And I think that's why they're going to probably stack up a few wins. I think I had them going like 7-10. And I think they're going to get almost all those wins just by running through the other team. And I think they're going to beat every bad team they play just by running the ball. But I think that Geno's going to be able to lose you any game by throwing a pick.
Yeah.
Which is why they're not going to be good enough. And their defense is not anything special. So it's like
a mix of those sucks.
So it's like having that with a guy who turns the ball over way too much. That's not a good recipe for success. But I do see there's a lot of pieces on this offense that you like. You know, the offensive line's been performing pretty well. You've got Brock Bowers, who's generational. You've got Jacoby Myers, who's one of the most underrated receivers in the league, in my opinion. I think he's phenomenal. You've got Ashton Jeanty now. So you got a lot of pieces that could work. It's just we see it all the time. You can only go so far with a quarterback, especially when it turns over the ball way too much. But I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, and at 8 we had Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's hard to rank. He's the hardest to rank in my opinion.
100%.
Because last time he was completely healthy for a season, he had, in my opinion, like probably the best running back season. Probably better. I think better than Saquon. Honestly.
I think
best running back season I've ever seen.
If he was healthy this last year and he played like the level he did 2 years ago with Barkley's season, I think he would have been a better back than Barkley this season. Like, I think he is a better back than Barkley if he's healthy. But it's really hard to rank him, like you said, because is he healthy? Who knows? But, like, the reason I put him here, obviously, because, like, Brees, we were like, oh, well, he wasn't healthy last season. The thing with Brees is he still played the whole year. McCaffrey didn't play. So we saw from Brees was, like, bad play. We saw from McCaffrey, he played, like, 2 games that were really bad when he came back. And then right before he got hurt in that snow game, he was looking like old McCaffrey. I don't know if you were watching that. It was like against the Bills. He was looking like old McCaffrey, and you could see it back. Like you could see, oh, there's McCaffrey. And then he unfortunately got hurt again. But you could still see McCaffrey. Like he took 2 games or however many games, 3 or 4 games, recovered, and then you could start seeing him coming back before he unfortunately got hurt again. Brees, I never really saw him come back. Like, he was just, like, working through injuries the whole season, obviously, coming back from that terrible injury the year before. But he never got back to what we want him to be or got close to what we want him to be. So, again, I'm really excited to project him to be really good. I really hope he is because I love Brees Hall. But I think CMC, if he plays, I'm more confident he's going to be amazing than I am Brees. We'll go back to what he was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you treated these situations very differently. I kind of put them similar. Or I just put them where I think they should be and then drop them like 5 spots. I don't know. Something like that. Like Christian McCaffrey was not... Like, he was super inefficient when he came back until the Bills game. He was
But
getting
it's not like he played a ton of games.
he played like 2 or maybe 3.
Yeah, but that's not a ton.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I traded for him in fantasy,
Yeah, and just wasn't good.
and he was terrible. And he's good on the Bills, and then he's tore his whatever.
But I genuinely think if he comes back and he's fully healthy, I could see him being number 1 this season.
Yeah, totally.
We've
seen that. We saw that
yeah.
a year ago.
But obviously this is projection. I think right now, the first week of the season, I could see him being around 8, which is where I have him.
7, Jonathan Taylor. I'm kind of surprised. You don't normally seem like a Jonathan Taylor guy at all.
He's a really good running back.
Yeah.
You just acted like, I don't know. When you talk about him, you act like he's a top 5 back, but like obviously you didn't put him there.
Well, maybe he is top 5 caliber. The running backs right now are really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there's a fair argument to say he's better than Bijan. I don't think that's crazy. I think them two are very close. He's a really good receiving back. He's phenomenal, like just everywhere else. Kind of gave the Broncos a playoff berth, so I got a little extra love for him after dropping the ball at the goal line. But I don't know. He's really good. He's just really good at everything. He doesn't really have weaknesses. I don't get not liking him. Obviously, he had that year, that really good year 2 or 3 years ago.
3 or 4 maybe.
It might have been 4. It's been a long time, I guess. But then he had like a down year. He struggled with a lot of injuries after that. And then this year, he was healthy and just looked like a lot more of himself. I could see him, taking even another step this year and being really, really good, even better than he is right now. So, but obviously, we've talked about projections a lot, but not projecting. So around 7 is where he belongs, I think. He's really good, though.
Yeah, I wish that he obviously was healthy. If he was healthy his whole career, he'd definitely be like maybe even 3rd. Like that season was so good.
So good.
And then he just randomly gets hurt, falls off, came back this year again. And he's like their whole offense because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and you don't like Bijan, so I was shocked he's this high for you at 6.
I don't like Bijan because people talk about him like he's the 3rd best back in the league. And I just don't think he is. I think there's a gap between him and the top 3, top 4.
I kind of disagree. I think between 4 and like 9 is like 1 tier. Maybe it's a thick tier, not like
so
a normal one.
You still think 3's a tier above though?
I think 3 is in there. Maybe you could put 3 in there. It's like there's all like little gaps.
I guess I don't know. I'm just not a huge Bijan fan. I think
Yeah.
he's in a great situation for him. Obviously, not maybe like scheme wise when it comes to like the amount of carries consistency wise, but like he gets plenty of carries, he gets plenty of opportunities. And people complain about him not getting enough carries, like you were saying earlier. But like he should get less carries, in my opinion, and they should just split with Tyler Algier. He'd be more efficient. Algier would help the offense. I don't know, but I think he will be good this year with Penix playing. But I think that he's a really good running back. I don't like him as much as other people do.
He's been super efficient. Every running back that's played in this offense the last few seasons has been efficient. But the reason why I think everybody really likes him is like he can break 8 tackles, juke 8 people in one play, and then keep going. And most of these other guys, really, he's probably one of only like 3 guys who has plays like those. And that really props him up, especially to the casual fan who's looking at highlights or like they don't appreciate being able to get 6 yards. They appreciate breaking 8 tackles and getting 50 yards.
Right, which is great, obviously. But you also need
they
consistency.
overrate that just because it's like
it's cool.
really cool play.
Yeah. And like we'll talk about a guy in the top 5. We both obviously have Kyren Williams, who's one of those guys exactly who doesn't have those explosive plays, which is why I think he's really underrated in the league. So I think that's a really good point. Is there anybody else that we haven't talked about?
No, that's everybody.
Okay, so let's go to the top 5 real fast. I'm guessing this is a very similar, if not 5 and 4 are probably switched, but
interesting. So at number 5, I have Kyren Williams. 4 is Josh Jacobs. 3 is Jahmyr Gibbs. 2 is Derrick Henry, and 1 is Saquon.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and pop mine up on the screen as well because that's the exact same. So, our top 9 is the exact same.
How exciting!
Not surprised, honestly. I think let's start with Kyren. Like we were saying, it's just super underrated in my opinion. He's so consistent, one of the most, if not the most consistent back in the league. He has incredible vision, and he just is able to get the 4 to 6 yards that you need every single time. He's amazing on 4th and 1. I think I was looking at something the other day with you that was like the number 1 team on 4th and 1 over the last 3 seasons is the Rams or something, which you just would never guess unless you think about Kyren Williams just being amazing. Yeah, but but you first guess people like the Eagles, like people that are really good at QB sneaks, and then you look at this guy who just goes against the traditional logic, and he's able to get it every single time as a running back, which is really cool and just super underrated. Like that is a really good trait to have, that vision and the ability to just be consistent and not get taken down behind the line too often, you know. And obviously, he doesn't have that breakaway speed or the breakaway playability necessarily, but consistency really does matter, like we keep saying. And I think that. I don't know. I think that he always has a good average, and I think he's going to be good for so many years because he doesn't even rely on his athleticism; he just relies on his vision. So,
Yeah, I think he has the best vision in the league, which I don't know how hot of a take that is. Shouldn't be that hot. He's so unphysically gifted. Has like no special things except for that he just has like phenomenal vision, and his yards per carry is more impressive. Like, you get receiving backs, you get like 150 carries a year and they average 5 yards per carry. That's not as impressive as a guy who plays like 95% of snaps and still is getting like 4.4 yards per carry and getting a bunch of touchdowns. It's 4th and 1. Like, obviously, I remember against the Packers, they had like they had like at least 2 4th and 1s that he got, and I was like so frustrated. We get the line gets a good push and he just goes woo, 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 and then just goes and gets 3 yards, and it makes me so mad. And that's what he does every game, just always getting the yards that you need. So,
yeah.
Just like, obviously not as flashy as Bijan, complete opposite players.
Yeah,
but.
Complete opposite players. Could not be more polar opposites, but definitely a great player. I'm guessing you're surprised I have Jacobs at 4.
When you said 4 and 5, you thought we're swapped. I thought for sure you had Kyron at 4 just because why would I have Jacobs lower than you? I didn't think that would happen. But just how the difference between Jacobs and Aaron Jones is crazy. Like,
oh, yeah.
We signed Aaron Jones. Not Aaron, so we signed Jacobs. And I was like, bruh. And then we cut Aaron Jones, and I'm like, what are we doing? Because Aaron Jones was so much better than Jacobs that year that we signed him. And Jacobs just went back to his old form, like not quite to his peak of his prime where he was like the best back in the league, basically.
He just led the league in yards. I just think it was a down year. I think this last season was his best season.
Really? The second half of the season, the Packers are like, we want to win every game. You're the way we win every game. You're consistent. You're one of the most consistent backs in the league. And it was like the start of the games, like the Dolphins game. There was other games like this too, where it's like run, screen,
yeah.
And then it's like run, and then it's like after like the first 3 drives, it's like we just started throwing it, and everything was open. People were open. Love was hitting every throw, and it's like the offense just gets opened up by Jacobs being so consistent, and he can break every tackle. I just don't know why anybody underrates Jacob at this point because we've seen him get the yards. He repeated that again. He is basically no other running back checks in basically for the Packers until it's garbage time. And then we're like, Emmanuel Wilson, get some cool yards.
Yeah.
And then Chris Brooks once in a while might sub in for receiving snaps. But he's basically our whole offense, like at least to start the game to get everybody going.
I mean, yeah, you basically said it all. He's just really consistent, really good, but he also has that big play ability at the same time. More of like the breaking tackles than like breaking away necessarily, but he's so good at it. What comes to mind for me, I remember watching the Lions-Packers game in primetime where he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and he just could not be taken down. He was just breaking every tackle. He's just so consistent, like you said, and he's just so good. He just keeps digging, he just keeps going, puts his feet in the ground, and he's not going to get taken down. So, really good guy to have, and he can be a workhorse. He does not necessarily need to get off the field. He's got super underrated trait, by the way. Like Kyron also has this. Kyron has like the most stamina I've ever seen. He plays like 98% of snaps or something. But like you said, there's so many plays where you're starting like 10 runs in a row, and Jacobs is at least 9 of those most of the time. So it's like, holy crap. Like, this dude is just going, and they're still not getting taken down. So, I don't know. Obviously, there were times where, you brought guys like Emmanuel Wilson in, but when Jacobs got those 9 carries in a row, it's like the adrenaline pumped him up, and he got better every run and just tired the defense down, which is, like, so valuable to have it, especially if you get to a game in the playoffs where you actually, aren't down 7-0 right away, and you can, just run the ball the whole game and just run it down people's throats. That is such a valuable thing to have in the playoffs, especially as, like, an away team. Like, you would just... That's like your best chance of winning, obviously. I think that's the best chance of any team winning. It's just having that dominant of a running game. And I think he's the perfect back for that style, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And, I mean, his receiving ability is so underrated. In college, he was known as, like, basically not a hybrid. Like, he was a good receiver in college. And that's why he went in the first round, because he was a complete back. And then he goes to the Raiders, and he doesn't have a receiving touchdown his whole career as the Raiders. He has a record for most receptions before a touchdown. And
because of Derek Carr.
But, and then he comes to the Packers, and obviously we run a lot of screens, and they work really well. And he's really good once you get the ball in his hands. So
Exactly. Yeah. And then number 3, we have Gibbs. I don't know if people are this high on Gibbs or not.
I think they are.
I think it's kind of hit or miss.
I don't think this is that crazy.
But obviously he plays in a really good situation. But he's just so good. I mean, obviously it's like, there were a lot of people that were like, oh, well, maybe he's just this good because he's got David Montgomery with him and like they're just a really good duo. Then David Montgomery gets hurt and he takes his game to like a crazy level. He's just absolutely insane. He was so good. I think he averaged 150 total yards in the games without Montgomery or something, which is just unheard of. He's phenomenal in the receiving game. He's even better in the run game. He's just so good at everything. And, obviously we put him at 3, so he's obviously going to be good at everything, but he's just phenomenal. I think he's so good. I think he's going to take another step this year. And I think, honestly, with how old Henry is, I wouldn't be surprised to see Gibbs in the top 2 next season.
I mean, I think there's a chance Henry's obviously terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but there's going to be a season. Eventually, Derrick Henry's not going to be good anymore. But as you said, like Gibbs, once Montgomery went out, we clearly saw he can be a workhorse back. That was basically the one knock on him was, oh, well, he can't handle full workload.
Yeah.
He can't take 20 carries a game because they have David Montgomery, and that's his game, is running the ball all the time. And Gibbs is a receiving back. He's 195 pounds. He can't do it. And then he did it. And then he was better than he was when he was getting less carries. He was, just as efficient and then just got more yards. So
yeah, no, completely agree. And then on Derrick Henry's always been weird to me. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say.
What do you mean?
But, when I watch Derrick Henry, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, dude gets tackled, but you have to tackle him by the legs or you're not tackling him. So when he gets tackled, he falls forward for an extra 4 yards every single time that he gets tackled. He in Madden when you do the cut stick and they fall over and they just go straight down where you cut them. And with Henry, he's so big, he just falls forward and his body's 3 yards. So then he gets an extra 3 yards, I swear. Because half the time it feels like, oh, well, Henry hasn't even been that good this game. Then you look at the stats and he's got 95 yards on 15 carries, which is a really good game. And you're like, what? And then he always seems to break away at least once. Where maybe it's only for a 20-yard this game, but he has so many big runs all the time, which you just don't see for a guy his size at all. He's humongous, obviously. Such a good power back. One of the best power back we've ever seen. He's an all-time back. And he's just phenomenal. But like I said, he's so consistent even when it seems like he's not. Making Derrick Henry not consistent is holding him to 4 to 5 yards every single play with the one breakaway. He never has bad games, it feels like. And then he has phenomenal games every once in a while. So it's he's just such a good back.
Best, probably top 3 running back I've ever watched. I just love watching him. Just the way he just is big and fast. But he had 1,900 yards rushing last season, and I don't feel like that's ever talked about.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was that many. Are you sure it's 1,900?
90% sure.
That's really good.
Yeah, he had so many yards, and he's just overshadowed by Barkley just because Barkley was just that much better.
The Ravens' offense was so underrated last season. People don't realize that the reason they didn't win more games because their defense was so bad in the beginning of the year. But their offense, think about 45 touchdowns from Lamar or whatever it was. And then you got Henry over here with 1,900 yards. You got Henry over here with a bunch of touchdowns. I forget how many he had, but he had a ton too.
Lamar had 5,000 total yards.
Yeah, so they just it was just shoving it down people's throats.
To be fair, it's a 2-man offense.
Yeah, but it's crazy that they're both eating that much. But it's so hard to find time for both players to eat that much. But it just shows how good they are. But and then obviously number 1, Saquon Barkley. Is there any discussion here? He just had one of the best running back seasons of all time. So,
yeah, I mean, he would have been way better if the tush push had been banned.
Yeah,
he would have gotten at least 8 more touchdowns.
At least, I think he would have gotten 16 more touchdowns. The thing that was when he gets stopped at the 1, it was 18 times or something, and Hurts got 17 of those carries.
I don't think he got the other one. I don't think.
And the other one wasn't a touchdown.
Yeah.
Or something. So, I don't know. He would have gotten a lot more touchdowns. And if Barkley's got 4 carries on the 1, I'm trusting him to get in the end zone. So, I feel like he would have gotten a lot more. But even with just the yards, you can see just how phenomenal he is. I don't feel like they didn't use him that much in the receiving game as much as you would have thought. When he's such a good receiving back, but they don't even have to use him in that because they're just winning by so much all the time. So I don't even think it's as good as he could have been. He sat out so many fourth quarters. He sat out the whole last game of the season. Like, this could have easily been the best rushing season of all time.
Statistically, it could have. Yeah, he was gonna catch the yardage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, with how much he sat out.
He needed like 20 or something like that.
No, he needed like 100 in the last game.
I don't think it was that much.
It was, but everyone was like he would have gotten it because they would have just kept him until he got it, but they didn't keep him in, obviously.
So dumb.
But you know, he just has games where he's unstoppable, like that Rams game. Both Rams games, honestly, in the playoffs, he was
like
really good too.
250 yards.
I think he had like 500 yards against them, almost like 400 something yards against them in 2 games, which is just unheard of.
And they have a good defense.
So he's just ridiculous. Definitely the best back in the league right now. Like I said, I really think McCaffrey the year before was better because he was more complete. Maybe it's because he got more opportunity, but they're both some of the, like, when they're healthy, they're both some of the best backs we've ever seen, and it's crazy that they're playing at the same time with Henry there too. So it's just a wild group of running backs we have right now. But is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here? All right, so that is our top 32 running back list. Let us know what you think we got right, what you think we got wrong down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and have a good one.